going. What I'm going to do is simply go through the high levels on the schedule first, and then open it up for questions just on the schedule. Then I'll review the rates briefly, the way they're set up, and then some of the changes that go along with that. And then we'll go from there. So I will go ahead and open it up for questions when we're ready. So just hold your questions, please, until at which time that I do that. And then also, as I mentioned in the beginning, please make sure that you're muted until you have a question. So appreciate it, and we'll get going. So to start off with schedules, the easiest schedule that we have on the table is the Lady Express. Lady Express schedule is really not changing a whole lot. In fact, it's pretty much the same exact schedule that we ran this year with the addition of a couple days. You will notice that we are maintaining the hour-and-a-half layover in Stehekin, as opposed to the 1 hour that it had consistently been prior to 2020. So that is still in there. Other than that, the schedule is, it is our primary boat that we put on the lake, and it does run daily for the most part, except for the off season when we back off first the Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then we do back the Saturdays off to mimic what we are doing currently. So no real changes there. Let's get into the Lady of the Lake. Lady of the Lake is, and we will start referring to that boat as the Lady of the Lake just because she is that. And also, many of you know this boat by the term Lady 2. That's fine also, but you will hear us only refer to the Lady 2 as Lady of the Lake in most of our communications going forward. So this year, 2020, many of you saw a reduction in the amount of trips that we ran the Lady 2. That reduction, at most, we ran 2 days a week, Fridays and Sundays. What we are doing this year, and we're excited to offer it, is we're basically going to be running a Friday schedule, a Saturday schedule, a Sunday schedule, and a Monday schedule. At this point in time, that is the extent that that boat will be on the lake. The cool thing is we are going to try something new. We're going to leave on Fridays slightly later in the day. We are going to leave at 10 o'clock from here. You are going to get up to Stehekin around 2 o'clock, and then that boat's going to stay there all Friday night, and then depart Saturday morning at 10 a.m. also. So really, from a schedule perspective, you have to remember 4 numbers: 10 o'clock departure, a 2 o'clock arrival, and then flip-flop that 10 o'clock departure, 2 o'clock arrival out of Stehekin. It does allow us to do 2 things, or actually 3 things. The first one being a slightly later departure, which is nice for folks on Fridays. It also allows for an early outbound on Saturdays. And then the other thing it does is allows that boat to be in Stehekin in the event that there's any other activities that we want to put on that boat. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, we will be running on Mondays also, which is a base change over what you saw this year. So really, you're going to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that boat will run those days: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The primary boats on the lake are going to be Lady Express and the Lady Cat, as we will get into right now. Looking at the Lady Cat, that boat, as some of you know, did run sporadically on Fridays and Saturdays this year. That was primarily an offload of the Express due to COVID-19 restrictions, as well as giving folks a little bit more options to get away for a full day. And so that test worked out relatively well. And as a result, that boat will be back on the run 3 days on Memorial Day weekend. Saturdays, the first half of June, Fridays and Saturdays, the second half of June, daily, July 1st through August 31st. And then September 1st through October 9th, it will run on Fridays and Saturdays. And so that boat is going to run the same schedule that any of you, if you paid attention this year on the Lady Cat schedule, departing 8 a.m. Down here in Chelan, gets to Stehekin at 9:30 or even slightly earlier than that, departs at 3:30 and gets back here at 5. that boat does provide folks with a full 6-hour layover, and it does activate several different combinations for anybody that wants to partake in those, which we'll get into at a later date. So from a base schedule perspective, that grand total is 434 runs, I believe, that we're going to run this year. Just to give everybody an idea, we did run 331 in 2020. So we are expecting and planning that the world does come back to a different spot than it is now, because from a business perspective, that's the smart approach. So that's what I have for schedules. Are there any questions on the schedule front? All right. With that, I will jump over to the rates. The rate scenario for this.
Sandra had a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's less a question other that I just we're heavy users of the Lady of the Lake flag stops at Canoe Creek on Lake Chelan, and
Yep.
you know, certainly we know this year was you know, just toss it out for comparison purposes, right? Because we all had to adapt.
Right.
But and I want you to be successful running these boats. You know, I've always wanted you to, you know, to make sure that you guys could be successful and have a great service. I'm just terribly disappointed that our access will be so severely limited by not having the flag stop. We can't, none of the other boats can pull in. Even the Friday stop isn't going to allow anybody to come back on Friday.
Correct.
So, you know, maybe somebody wanted to go up on Monday and come back Friday. They can't do that. It's just disappointing. And I would understand that you need to make the decisions you need to make to be viable, but we'll be terribly disappointed, and we'll end up finding other ways to get around it, which in some ways, I mean, I wish we could use the Lady of the Lake all the time, because I would use it more. And if we have to adapt and find ways to not use the Lady of the Lake, I feel like we'd probably use it even less by having so much less access. I'm not trying to, I really want to be supportive, and I want you guys to do well. We're just really disappointed because it impacts.
And that's, I completely understand that. I mean, I know from a flag stop perspective, it definitely does cause some issues, and we understand that. We are, as you alluded to, we are in a little bit of a situation where running the most expensive boat on the lake is a tougher one for us to run consistently from that perspective. I would say that I think we are very optimistic about 2021 to the point where we're looking at things from there's a smart business way of looking at it, and then there's also a complete upside. You know, what happens if things come all the way back? Right now, if things come all the way back from a passenger count standpoint, the first boat that will be added to the schedule is that boat. And at this point in time, obviously I can't sit here and tell you that that's going to happen, but I will tell you that that is priority one. If we are not hitting our capacity numbers for everybody, that boat is the one. And obviously in your case, you guys would have more access as a result of that. So that's the best I can tell you right now. I do appreciate your candor and your questions, and we completely understand that. So we also are very good at helping folks have creative solutions for getting to those spots as well, collectively as an organization. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us in that area. We may be able to work on, you know, private boat scenarios, that kind of stuff as well. So there are options. We do want to make sure that we take care of all of our flag stop folks. We've just had to make certain decisions based on the current state of the business. So.
Yeah, I understand. And I appreciate that. I didn't know there would be any other options. You know, if I needed to wanted to go up in the middle of the week, you know, if I could call and say,
Definitely.
is there anything that can be done to help, you know?
Yes, and my number one response to that is please do call us first. We will look at it on multiple fronts. We have a fair amount of leeway capability. We have different boats and different companies and that kind of stuff that help us. So just give us a call and we'll see what we can do. But at this point in time, this is the baseline that we're going to go forward with, and do appreciate your questions.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? All right. Okay. With that, we will jump into the rate side of things. The primary change on rates is that we are doing our best to remove the round trip option as a base rate option for folks. And when I say that, it's we're basically going to a full one-way rate scenario. We have designed some options for folks to be able to maintain a cost structure that is good, assuming that you book both of your one-way rates together, which obviously is the definition of a round trip. So we are definitely expecting there to be some confusion in this area simply because it is a very sizable change. But what you can expect from us is a lot more communication in this area as far as how to book your rates, better scenarios how to book your tickets. And then also a scenario where you can get the best value out of our ticketing scheme on a step-by-step basis. So the one-way rates is probably the biggest transition as far as those of you who have been traveling with us for years and years. That would be probably the number one thing that you would see that would be different this year. The other thing is we're actually taking and based on the question that I just answered, we're actually reducing the cost of the Lady 2 and essentially creating a one-way $25 each way rate
40 minutes
that will help hopefully offset a little bit of the schedule concerns, as well as it is the option that is.
I'm not interested anymore in that. If I hit leave, do I leave?
From that perspective. So
I hit leave, do I leave?
Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Down here.
I
Question.
don't know.
So the next one on the list after the Lady 2 is the one ways for the Lady Express are going from $41 to $43. The round trip option that you see there in our posting, the 75-25, there will be a follow-on step-by-step instructions on how you get to that spot, because it's a little bit confusing in our ticketing system. And Shannon and Chris are both going to work diligently on that part of it to get the communication out to everybody. On top of that, the CAT rate is the $49 one-way rate. It's $49 up, $49 back. It's a pretty consistent scenario for that CAT program. The commuter portion of this is an opportunity for people to go ahead and purchase multiple tickets and essentially get one ticket free after you purchase 4 in a row. And that's a single transaction, single customer opportunity. But folks will hopefully see that there's a fairly good discount in that area. That applies to all the boats. So if you decide to do that for us, then you will have those tickets for sure. And you will also notice that the old commuter program, for those of you that used it at all this year, we went from buy 3, get the 4th this year to now we're at buy 4, get the 5th. And that is mainly due to the fact that the one-way rates have been implemented. So freight changes are very minimal. We did increase the cost on the bike side of things from $15.50 to $20 per bike, and that is a one-way rate. Electric bikes were added as an option. We did haul a lot of electric bikes this year, which was kind of a first, and we really, based on the space requirements that they take up and the space in general that they that they occupy, we are at $35 for those bikes. Other than that, the only other thing is that the unaccompanied freight did go up from $7.75 to $15. And that is simply freight that is going with us, traveling with us, but you are not traveling with that freight as well. So it's pretty simple from that perspective. Regarding the rates, are there any questions on the rates? Okay.
I have a question. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep. Go
This
ahead,
is
Mark. Yep.
Yeah. Is unaccompanied freight, does that include like Napa, Kelly's Hardware, Bear Foods, Azure, or is that something else?
So Napa and Kelly's Hardware are a very good example of it. I will get into Azure in a second because it's a very good, example of something else that we can clarify. Kelly's, if you have a parcel from Kelly's, yes, technically the $7.75 goes to $15 for that parcel. If that parcel is essentially over, becomes 35 pounds, if it's over 35 pounds, it resorts to the 25 cents a pound rate. So that is the difference. Regarding Azure, typically those parcels and those shipments that we are packaging, you know, maybe there's 10 folks that are all getting a portion of that Azure order. That is always done as freight charged at the per pound rate, and that will continue to be at our 10 cents a pound rate. Yeah.
And then how about Bear Foods?
Same thing. Depending upon how much you have, Mark, it would be either the 15 or it would resort to the 10 cents.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else?
Go ahead.
So that'd be $15 per box or bag or any sized unit that's less than 35 pounds. Is that right?
That's the right way to look at it, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Any other questions on anything I haven't covered that you wanted us to take care of for you? All right. Well, if there are no other questions, then this would conclude our meeting. And of course, if there are things that pop up after the fact, if we were not clear on something, if I stumbled through something you did not understand, please do email our office or call our office down here, and one of us will get back to you in a timely manner. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great holiday season. And thank you very much
for doing this.
You're very welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Have a good night.